Tales of Iron, first to review. I tried the game a couple hours, so you don't have to. Tales of Iron is another free PlayStation game for this April month, and it is a 2D side-scrolling, Souls-style slashing and story-emphasized game that plays about as good as it sounds. God, why? I really do not like this game. I don't think they did much well whatsoever with it, and some of the only original decisions that were really made through the game are actually just massive negatives. Its communication systems are the best way to make this point. They're very clearly aware of how obnoxious the sound of the rats and the communication is here.
When his squire woke him with this god-awful noise.
And then they continue to use this god-no-pause noise for all of the dialogue through the entire game, making it so any source of new information or plotisements are all gonna be obnoxious hindrances that you want to end, and they never end. You can't skip any of this horrific 4th grade recorder recital that is the standard, and on top of that, it double dips with having full narration after every single time these picture dialogues pop up. So it's essentially giving you a super simple, obnoxious string of what's happening and then over-explaining it with this cringy, monotonous narrator that is also really hard to listen to. The story is both unoriginal and uninteresting, trying to tap into every Game of Thrones Nor move they can.
Crimson Keep, King Rattus, first of his name.
Except for like the good elements of interesting drama, extrapolating characters, and incest. Well, yeah. And it's kind of impossible for these characters to become interesting because they are so extraordinarily simple, which I feel is also a pretty accurate way to describe the environment and world. The color variance is not significant at all, and a lot of things can just kind of blend and merge together, including your character, the environment, and enemies. And for a combat system that does not always have good UI to show you certain attacks that are coming, when everything blends together, it makes this even worse to play with. And I'd say that the combat might be the best part of this game, but I don't think it's even good. It's supposed to be brutal and unforgiving like Dark Souls, which it can be a little bit at stretches, but mostly only appearing through the amount of damage and the unavoidability of some of the attacks of enemies. But then it's also going to have stretches where the opponents are way too easy and have much more sloth-like reactions than frogs, and even when you put together some successful stretches of combat, mostly they're not that satisfying. Usually that's when you figure out one kind of dynamic or thing that you have to kind of abuse so that the fight becomes a little trivial. And with the amount of health that enemies have in this game, everything really becomes repetitive, as does kind of everything in this game. Ability responsiveness is also rather questionable, and it doesn't feel like your character will always react to what you're trying to do. Splash proximity simplexes are rather unclear, so you're not sure what's gonna damage you, what's not. And I think this game has an issue with trying to create something that's challenging and difficult, but what it really creates is something that is tedious, annoying, and unpleasant. Souls-style games aren't really my thing, but I can certainly be compelled by story and challenge, and this game just doesn't do those elements in a compelling way. This is just a game design disaster, and there is so much systemic stupidity. Don't waste your time having them waste your time. This game, do not be froggy froggy. Eat a dick, Blocky Magoo.
Eat my little pee-pee, Dennis. My rat pee-pee. I killed you.
I'm filling up my drink out of this mouse's face. Look at this shit. What? It looks like I'm fucking bottling his tears, dude.